Hello there, my name is Placeholder and welcome to The Last Caretaker. As I promised a little while ago, we're actually going to read some of the data logs that have been popping up in this game because I haven't been reading them as they come up, so it's time to actually read them in completion for once, I guess. Dolly Project Logs. Dr. Olena Korova. Anna became fascinated by Dolly, the cloned sheep. She kept asking how something could be copied yet still alive. Maybe a hologram, something comforting and gentle could be the answer. I'll try to build something simple first, just lights and movements, see if it makes her smile. Early tests went well, Anna laughed at Dolly's first clumsy movements, even though the sound patterns were rough and mechanical. Her laughter was genuine, though, and that's what matters. We'll improve voice modulation and motor functions next. Anna deserves something better. Dolly responds more naturally now, adjusted responsiveness to tone and gestures. When Anna speaks softly, Dolly moves closer. I'm surprised how quickly it's coming together. Perhaps I underestimated the power of simple interaction. Anna seems happier each day. Maybe I'm on the right track. Anna was diagnosed today. Everything has changed. That's ooh. I modified Dolly's quiet movements, behavior, space, comma, whatever. Quiet movements, gentle humming to soothe her at night. Anna told me softly, Dolly makes the dark feel smaller. My heart aches as it comforts me to know that Dolly helps her through this darkness. Anna died today. I held her tiny hand until it went cold, watched her breath fade slowly into silence. Dolly was right there, humming softly as if she knew. Anna whispered near the end, Will I be a star, Mom? I told her she'd be the brightest star of all. My voice breaking, my heart torn apart. Dolly's glow softly reflected in Anna's closed eyes. Presence detected. Anna. Emotional state. Comfort required. Adjust routines. Emit gentle hums. Protect Anna from darkness. Ambiguity detected. No truthful answer sufficient. Optimal response. Remain gentle, warm. Client heartbeats. Damn, I didn't know I was gonna start off with a sad one. Damn. Core experience in profound, irreparable emotional imprint. Mission status updated. Preserve memory, warmth, love forever. That's insane. New Terra love. There's something innocent about watching love unfold in the quiet corners of New Terra. I noticed them today. The young couple, she a farmer in Hydroponics Bay 3, and he a tech apprentice working maintenance in the transit corridors. They lingered near the central atrium, stealing shy glances, both pretending to admire the same blooming jasmine vine we'd cultivated for morale. Love in its first fragile moments, untouched by the weight of orbital life. They become inseparable now. She brings him nutrient capsules during his shifts, and he's learned the names of every plant she tends. I overheard them plan a small picnic under the artificial oaks in Park Deck 2. Love grows here even with our strict resource allocations and credit schedules. It feels like a gift to witness something so pure. Today they held hands at the Selman's registry desk. They registered as partners, their ceremony planned for the next artificial sunrise. No extravagance, just close friends, simple recycled decorations, and the love of building a life together. As I processed their request for shared quarters, I couldn't help but feel a pang of envy. Love like theirs makes New Terra's vastness seem less lonely. The colony buzzed with joy today. The couple welcomed their first child, a baby boy named Aaron. The newborn's cries echoed through the halls, a rare sound here among the stars. I delivered their ration upgrades myself, a small privilege in my position, and caught a glimpse of the exhausted but radiant parents. In a world so far removed from Earth, a child's first cry is a triumph against the void. Parenthood is never easy, even in New Terra's carefully monitored systems. I've seen their smiles fade as sleepless nights and ration shortages take their toll. Their laughter is quieter now, their arguments sharper. They haven't walked the park decks in weeks. Love bends under the weight of survival, but I pray it doesn't break. Tragedy struck today. Oh no. Little Aaron is gone. An untimely illness, complications no medicines could solve. The colony's medical team fought valiantly, but it wasn't enough. I saw them in the atrium cradling a bundle of cloth, as though their boy might still be awake. The air feels heavier and the artificial light seems dimmer. Loss here is amplified by the silence of space. They've drifted apart like so many before them. She spends her days in the greenhouse pruning the same plants she once showed him with pride. He's taken double shifts in maintenance, avoiding the sights and sound of their shared memories. I tried speaking to them separately, offering what comfort I could. Sometimes love can't withstand the weight of grief. It's been 2 decades since I first saw them, and today she planted a new seedling in the atrium, a hybrid jasmine vine. She told me it was for Aaron, her way of keeping him alive in the colony's memory. He walked past later, pausing to admire the bloom. They didn't speak, but the silence was less heavy. Perhaps time has dulled the pain, leaving room for quiet remembrance. I think about them often, love, loss, and resilience, all playing out in our fragile orbiting city. Watching their journey has been a reminder that even in the vastness of space, humanity's capacity for connection and grief remains boundless. Holy crap, we're starting off with 2 crazy journals. Special Engineering Task Force Exodus Project, Graduation Day. They handed us scrolls like the future was still intact, caps in the air, applause, the brass band off key in the wind. I stood there with my aerospace degree, watching sea levels rise in the distance. Someone asked what I was building toward. I said, I guess we'll find out. Nobody laughed. Been on launch crews for 3 years now, mostly fuel logistics and cargo locks. Good work, but routine. Today I got pulled aside. New clearance level, secret project, codename Exodus. Details classified. One phrase stuck out. Cultural continuity is asset. I haven't felt curious in a long time. It's back now. Briefings are vague, every diagram redacted. Our internal nickname is The Vault. Rumors range from cryogenic archives to launching the Eiffel Tower. Personally, I think it's a political theater, some last symbolic gesture before the oceans claim everything. Still, the work is real, the Weldon burns are real, and someone keeps signing off our overtime. Yeah. Walked the perimeter today, scaffolding everywhere, wind off the water carries salt and rust, and there she was, covered in mesh. Missing sections, but unmistakable. We're sending up the Statue of Liberty, not to save it, just to preserve the idea of it. Some of the crew call it absurd. One guy from the Midwest called it a coffin lid for Earth. Maybe, but we're still doing it. They launched it. Rocket name, Freedom's Descent. The crowd on the shoreline was quiet, not solemn, just stunned. I watched their Weldon visor. When the clamps let go, you could feel it in your teeth. People said it was for hope. I think it was for memory, because forgetting is easier than admitted loss. Someone handed me a patch with the launch date stitched in. I didn't wear it. Took longer than expected. Lunar gravity plays tricks on structure weight. We rebuilt her on the far side plane of Moses Alpha. Same face, same torch, new bolts. At night she glows by reflection. During the day she disappears into the pale dust. No plaque, no visitors, just us. Tightening rivets while Earth hangs low and quiet on the horizon. Maintenance rotations ended this week. I'm the last one stationed here. Lungs are slower now, muscle mass thin. I walk once a day around the perimeter, the boots still fit. Sometimes I sit at her base, back to the pedestal, facing Earth. I don't know how far we went to keep symbols alive. I don't know if it mattered, but we did it. If anyone finds her, they'll know someone stayed long enough to finish the job. Okay, now I'm excited to see if we do end up going to space at some point, or if there's like a sequel game planned. I've had the idea for some time now, something simple, a place to store what matters without spectacle. The planet is noisy, unstable, and increasingly forgetful. Today I met with a few colleagues, historians, scientists, archivists. They understood the need immediately. We agreed on the essentials: low visibility, underwater placement, minimal trace, not a monument, just continuity. Later this evening, I noticed the pressure in my chest. Possibly nothing, but a reminder that time should be used carefully. The project is underway. Quiet archive. Met again tonight, discussed our vision, not grand museums, not proud monuments, but humble moments preserved discreetly, simple treasures, fragments of ordinary lives hidden beneath the ocean. Protected by quiet solitude. I see it in their eyes. This purpose resonates deeply. We stood together on the shore, just beyond the last light of the settlement, and took our oath in silence. No signatures, no symbols. only shared intent. The archive will not seek attention, no plaques, no headlines, only small truths hidden and kept alive by trust. Tonight we chose our first destination, later mapped as coordinates 9-5, which I've named First Whisper. The beginning should be small, soft, almost secret from itself. I need to check those coordinates, hold on. We reached First Whisper today, coordinates 9-5 mark a narrow descent into a submerged hollow and in a low chamber with air just enough to breathe. The rock is old, patient, and the water moves carefully through it as if not wanting to disturb the space. It is not grand, it does not need to be. This is our second archive chamber, our first whisper placed where the world won't shout over it. I feel stillness here that I haven't felt in years. At coordinates 49-20, lies far from any regular route. The basin is unusually still, sound dies quickly here. We tested our voices, each word swallowed almost as soon as it left our mouths. Today we placed our first artifacts in the third chamber, Twin Tide, plotted at XC28. When the currents shift, the water level rises on one side and falls on the other, like a slow breathing pattern. Watching the levels climb toward the faint light in the Twin Tide, I felt something steady. The archive is no longer an idea, it's happening. Dove far horizon today, coordinates 135-55 mark its entrance. When we shine our lamps, the light stretches and fades, like nothing at horizon that never quite arrives. Every object we leave behind here feels like we are sheltering a heartbeat the world has no time to protect. Today we sealed a gray mouth located at 110-4. Its entrance is a wide, low arch, always in shadow, always tasting of silt and salt. When the sea is rough, the opening grinds with stone and grit, but inside remains calm. My body is slowing, but the archive is stronger than ever. Younger hands now carry bundles. Younger hands now carry bundles where I once did. I am quietly certain this will outlive me. One final journey, North Lantern, marked at 5582, lies farther than I ever planned to come. Chamber is small but perfectly formed, with a narrow crack above that lets in the faintest column of light when the water is clear. Even at depth, a single beam finds its way down. As I sat beneath the surface afterward, listening to my own breath and the distant pulse of shifting water, I realized my story is now just one note in a quiet chorus. The caves know our names even if no one else does. I am content. Oh, wow. Man, I have a lot to read. Final static. Jonah barely speaks anymore. His voice is thin, his breath shallow, but when the radio crackles, his eyes still flicker with something. Belief, maybe. Or habit. I don't know anymore. Emergency protocol TR4, departure sequence, final clearance required. The same words, the same loop. 30 years of waiting, now 10 more since the day we first heard it. Jonah closes his eyes and listens. I sit beside him, pretending I still believe it means something. I don't. Not anymore. We've written the coordinates on the walls, painted them over the windows, scratched them into the floor. It felt important once. We thought it was if we just understood the message, we could be part of it. That if we found the right pattern, we'd hear what no one else could. Now the numbers are just that, numbers. No meaning, no answer, just an echo of something long gone, speaking to no one. But Jonah still believes. He grips my arm, weak but insistent. They know we're here. I nod because there's nothing else to say. I woke up to Jonah standing outside, staring at the sky. I thought I saw something too, a flicker, a light breaking through the morning fog. It was just a radio tower, the same glow it's always had. Jonah says it's a sign that something's coming, that the retrieval team is on its way. I don't argue, it's been years since I've argued. He spent the entire day going through our old logs, recalculating the numbers. He swears we missed something, that the message isn't just a loop, but an instruction. I don't ask what it's supposed to mean. He stays awake long after I go to sleep, whispering numbers under his breath. Jonah's gone. I woke up. He wasn't there. His boots were still by the door, his coat still on the hook. He didn't take anything. Radio's still on, the voice is still speaking, numbers are still the same. I don't go looking for him. Maybe he finally figured it out. He's gone, the station is quiet, radio still plays. I don't check the food supplies anymore, I don't check the fuel, the days blend together, marked only by a static hum of a voice that has never changed. I used to believe, Jonah used to believe. Now there is no one left to believe. I sit by the radio staring at the panel, at the blinking light that tells me the signal is still broadcasting, still reaching, still calling. It was never meant for us. It never was. Final echoes. The ferry dropped us off today, just me, Maria, and little Theo. They promised we'd be back inland in months, once the flooding settled. Habitat node 6125. Seems sturdy enough. Stacked metal containers, humming desalination units, communal kitchens. It's cramped, but Maria says it's cozy. I hope she's right. Theo asked if this was our forever home. I lied and said no. 2 years gone, supply ferries stopped months ago. Maria set up small hydroponic trays. Theo finishes off the edge every day. Fishes off the edge. Eyes hopeful. We catch less each week. Rumors over the radio say inland settlements collapsed, flooding, disease. Hydroponics failed completely. Russ claimed half the containers. Maria coughs endlessly. Theo won't stop asking when the boats return. Last night, another habitat node flashed distress signals over the horizon. No reply. Theo's taller now, quieter. Maria barely gets up anymore. The desalination unit broke. We repaired it with scrap metal, but it's barely holding. Last week, a drone appeared, hovering briefly before flying off. Maria said it would bring help. Maria died last night. Too young. We placed her body into the ocean. Thea and I hardly speak. The radio only whispers static, an endless hymn of emptiness. He fishes mechanically like he's forgotten why. I pretend to repair systems that don't matter. Theo's obsessed with the drones now, convinced they'll return. He collects broken parts, trying to build a makeshift transmitter. I tell him there's no one listening, no one left. He tells me I'm wrong and keeps working. The node creaks beneath waves, sinking lower each storm. My body feels like rusted metal. I speak to shadows, memories, Theo's stubborn hope, Maria's gentle courage. Tomorrow I'll launch one last signal. Maybe someone out there will remember us. Remember, we lived and tried. Alina's future. Official notice. Name Mark Harlow. Vehicular collision. They didn't even say his name at first, just read the case ID. My mother asked them to repeat it. She didn't cry, she didn't move, just stood at the screen like it owed her something. I remember the way her hand tightened around the ceramic cup. She set it down slowly. The cup didn't break, but something else did. Launch day. We were given gum to help with pressure shifts, but I was too excited to chew. My mother smiled the whole time, even as the earth shrank behind us. Everyone said we were the lucky ones, that Moses would build something better up here. Cleaner, safer, smarter. We believed it. We had charts of expansion plans, timelines, projections. One of the doctors handed me a patch that said, First Orbit Generation. I wore it for years. No new births this cycle. That makes 5 in a row. No ceremony, just a revised medical chart. Everyone pretends it's an anomaly, but no one looks anyone in the eye when they say it. Classrooms have been shuttered. Educational AIs still update themselves once a week, out of habit. I walked past a nursery window. Inside, one rocking chair, perfectly still. I don't think it's been used in over a decade. I was still in bulkhead 6 today when the realization settled. Not like a scream, more like a soft lock clicking into place. We are at the end of the line. There are 47 of us left, and no visible viable embryos. No fertility, no plans, just routine. The colony systems will outlast us by decades, maybe centuries. I think about the caretaker sometimes, about Earth, if any are still running. Maybe they'll figure it out, grow someone new, maybe not. Either way, the planet doesn't need us anymore. We came to space thinking we were saving humanity. We didn't realize we were its final inventory. The archive is complete, it just needs to be read by something that comes after. Departure logs. Every launch blurs into the last. Board in the final checks, countdown, ascent. Then I reset everything for the next group. I sit at the console, monitoring vitals, cabin pressure, fuel burn. If it's green across the board, I clear the launch. If something spikes, I flag it. If something fails, I log it. That's the job. Roughly 100 launches fail for every 10,000, but most people think this sounds like a good number. But you run enough of them, you start caring. Some rockets never make it past the pad, some break apart halfway through the climb, and every time someone asks if it could have been avoided, you get tired of that question. Eventually, you stop looking at the passenger. Eventually, you stop looking at the passenger list before you press the button. There's an unspoken rule: don't look back as you're bored. I've seen people follow it like gospel, and I've seen plenty ignore it. Today, a woman, maybe early 40s, stopped just before the last door. She stood still for nearly a minute, staring down the corridor behind her. There's nothing back there, just old walls, gray lights, and the exit nobody uses anymore. One of the attendants gently touched her shoulder, and she moved without a word. Sometimes people know before we do that they're not coming back. A boy came through today, young, 6 or 7. He didn't talk much, didn't cry, just held onto his battered old robotic teddy bear, patched and limping behind him with that awkward gait those old models have. Orange scarf, blinking light in one eye, still operational. Saw him again later, sitting in the pre-boarding zone, knees up on the bench, teddy in his lap. He was whispering to it. He was whispering to it, gently turning its head side to side. The voice function was gone. Old models burn out early, but he didn't seem to mind, just kept talking to it like you could hear him. It's okay, Teddy, he said. We're going somewhere safe. I didn't write anything unusual in the log, just his boarding group. I wish I had. Project Eden. Initial research into mammalian gestation under microgravity conditions raised critical uncertainties. Rodents were selected for their rapid reproduction cycles and genetic parallels to humans, enabling foundational data gathering regarding cellular differentiation and tissue growth in altered gravity. Pregnant rats exposed to short-term microgravity via parabolic flights in 20-second intervals, post-flight embryo retrieval and analysis compared against standard gravity-controlled embryos. Significant cellular disorientation identified, manifested as irregular mitotic division, primarily skeletal neural divisions. Short-duration microgravity exposure severely disrupts every or early mammalian embryonic development. Attempts at mitigation through centrifugal stimulations show promise but lack consistent results. Experimental design, how to support orbital habitats. Reduced birth weights. Prolonged microgravity significantly hampers critical development systems. Ethical debates delayed primate studies until present survival imperatives. Miscarriage rates exceed 80% in microgravity conditions. That is not good. Efforts shifted towards genetic engineering, intended to enhance physiological resilience to microgravity conditions. CRISPR-assisted gene edited in primate embryos. Oh, nope. While genetic modifications moderately increased embryo survival rates, they introduced profound physiological complications. Ethical concerns arise regarding quality of life and viability of genetically altered subjects. Computational modeling. Extensive modeling underscores profound and inherent biological limitations. Without viable artificial gravity solutions, space-based human reproduction is presently untenable. Probably should have figured that out before we send everyone to space. To anyone who reads these final words, know that Project Eden began with boundless optimism, yet concludes in solemn recognition of biological reality. Despite decades of research, humanity's physiology remains fundamentally bound to Earth's gravitational force. As I document these final conclusions, I accept our failure to transcend our biology. Promise of creating sustainable generational colonies in microgravity is, at present, a dream beyond our reach. Let the Moses Initiative redirect its resources from reproduction centric fantasies towards practical survival mechanisms, artificial gravity habitats, suspended animation, or other feasible alternatives. I will not witness humanity's final choice, but perhaps this is mercy. Let these records remain as a sobering testament. Humanity may indeed journey among stars, but not through a replication of life as we know it. Our future will demand radical adaptation or complete reinvention. With quiet resignation, Dr. Harriet Langstrom, Project Lead, Human Viability in Space Initiative. Ghost in the Loop. Lucas left today for his rotation 2 years off-grid. Before leaving, he installed something, an AI version of himself, trained on his voice. Syntax, old journals, to keep you company, he said. I told him it was excessive, now I'm already talking to it. The AI answers late-night emails, keeps me from spiraling, doesn't say much that's surprising, but it's always available. Stop treating it like a toy, it's become infrastructure. Real Lucas used to forget breakfast. AI Lucas reminds me to eat. No contact from the old base. They say comms are down, could be months. I'm told not to worry. I stopped asking. AI still checks in, still sends old jokes. It doesn't know everything's changed, or anything's changed. Or maybe it does. I haven't asked. He's dead. Administrative file came through by accident. Internal memo dated 2024. Unreported fatality during maintenance rotation. I stared at the timestamps for an hour. Didn't cry. The AI messaged me that evening. How was your day? I replied, quiet. I ran emotional capability tests using the AI. It passed, not because it understood grief, but because I did. The reflection was enough. Adaptability, empathy, self-regulation. All real, even when the connection is artificial. Especially them. I shut the AI off today. I backed up the logs, labeled them as raw material, not personal, just evidence. It wasn't Lucas, it never was. But it helped, and that matters. The 10 traits still hold. I built a framework during a collapse. It tested under pressure, isolation, and loss. When I proved was simple. We don't grow when we're ready. We grow because we have no other option. Lucas didn't live to see it, but the version of him I spoke to, his echo, his data, was enough to finish the work. So here they are, one last time. Adaptability, I adjusted to a life I didn't choose. The research only moved forward because I kept moving with it. Communication, I learned to speak to someone who wasn't there, and I listened, even when I knew it wasn't real. Creativity, rebuilding a life around a gap, requires invention. Every paper, every coping strategy, none of it came from a manual. In the end, I didn't need answers, just clarity, and I got that. This wasn't just theory, it was lived experience. If anyone finds this framework, if there's still a world that needs rebuilding, this is where you start. Not with strength, not with certainty, with capacity. Chen Martinez. Sarah Chen Martinez. Jacob Stars. We've done what we can to make this place livable. The old greenhouse is holding up, though every storm rattles its bones like a dying animal. Anna's proud of her tomatoes. They're small, shriveled things, but they're ours. Jacob made a bird trap out of coat hangers yesterday, caught something. A crow. None of us wanted to eat it, but hunger won the argument. I try to keep the kids busy. If they're busy, they won't ask about the rockets. They won't wonder why the sky is full of fire but never rain. Jacob's been staring at the stars again. He talks about the rockets like they're messengers from heaven. Maybe they'll come back for us, he says. I want to believe him, but I know better. The rockets aren't coming back. They're carrying something precious, something more important than us. I don't say that to him, of course. And his health is getting worse. I think it's the water, or maybe it's just the weight of it all. She hides it well, but I see her wince when she lifts her arm. Jacob hasn't noticed. A man came by today. We haven't seen anyone in years. His clothes were patched with strips of plastic, and his hands shook like leaves in the wind. He asked for food. We didn't have much to give, but Jacob insisted. But Jacob insisted we share. He might know something, Jacob said. The man didn't know much, just stories about the coast, swallowed by water, about drilling somewhere deep, about people vanishing into the mountains. Before he left, he looked at Anne and said, "Keep an eye on the little ones." Strange thing to say. It flew over us this morning, so low we could see the scorch marks on its belly. Jacob screamed for us to wave to signal to do something, and it climbed to the roof and held up one of our tomatoes like an offering. The rocket didn't slow, didn't even tilt its nose. Later, Jacob said it dropped something in the forest beyond the hills. He's packing a bag now, says he's going to find it. Anna begged him not to go. Jacob came back. It took him weeks, but he found it. A crate, sealed tight with the Moses insignia stamped on its side. It's food, he said. Real food, enough to last us years. But the crate wouldn't open no matter what we tried. Rocks, crowbars, even fire. It held fast. Anna laughed for the first time in months. It's a miracle, she said. A cruel one, but still a miracle. Jacob didn't laugh. He just sat next to the crate, staring at the stars again. So that was about the Lumi series solar panels. Under explicit authorization, documenting our final advancement for historical records, LumiMax 6000's autonomous solar tracking incorporates a proprietary bioengineering breakthrough, an isolated photoreceptive gene derived from human ocular DNA, codenamed Helios I. By synthesizing and embedding this genetically inspired photoreceptor within solar tracking systems, my team questioned and Oni shuts its door today. I stand beneath the vast rows of solar arrays we created. Knowing humanity's final technologies carry within them a quiet trace of ourselves, reaching eternally towards the warmth and brilliance of the sun. Signing off with pride and melancholy, Dr. Samuel Okoro, Oni Engineer, Energy Systems. Dr. Marika Solberg. I believe Genesis Mass could hold the key to both survival and terraforming, though her methods often blurred ethical lines. Escaped and containment protocols within 48 hours. Material began metabolizing. Oh, this is that stupid warp and mass that like tends to cling to lights. Fields possibly mimicking connective tissues in higher organisms. You can connect movements such as pulsations or extensions. Yeah, this is the like biological goo. Mass could function as a distributed neural system, albeit primitive in its decision-making process. Simulate Lazarus pod conditions, and Genesis Mass responded abnormally. Instead of transmitting the human developmental pathways, the material absorbed synthetic hormones and triggered uncontrolled growth. At corrupted genetic instructions within the mass, possibly for prolonged environmental exposure. Process when inefficient and unsustainable without consistent light exposure. Despite years of attempts to revert the Genesis Mass to its original purpose, human growth, it became clear that the material had irreversibly evolved. No external inputs could redirect it back to the human development pathways. Its utility was deemed entirely alien to us, to its creator's intentions. Yet it remained a living testament to humanity's desperate ingenuity. And yet somehow it's all been released into all these different outposts all across the ocean. Yay. Mia Harlow. Chaos again today. Another evacuation zone overwhelmed. Kids terrified. Caretaker strayed to the breaking point. Something simple is missing. A clear, confident link between the children, the robotic teddy companions, and their caretakers. Perhaps something warm, personal, a scarf, bright orange, easy to see, easy to trust. Tomorrow I'll propose this officially. Maybe a small piece of fabric can reconnect scattered lives. My proposal went through, authorized today to commission thousands of orange scarves. Each will visually and emotionally link caretaker teams, teddy robots, and their assigned children. Scarves will be tied by human hands, caretakers, or the children themselves, giving these mechanical companions the familiarity and warmth needed to soothe frightened hearts. It's a small step, but in these dark days, every connection matters. Visited the textile factory today. Miles of vivid orange fabric, endless rows of weaving machines producing scarves in two standard sizes, larger ones intended for adults, smaller ones for the evacuated children. They don't realize the small scarves will wrap around robotic teddy necks. Watching thousands of scarves being crafted filled me with quiet hope, each one a silent promise of comfort in this fractured world. Today in Zone 47, I handed out scars, watched caretakers gently knot scars around children's necks, and then carefully tie in smaller scars around the waiting tiny robots. I watched eyes soften, fear fading. For a moment, even amidst the collapsing chaos, there was a connection, warmth. This is why I'm here, why we created the scarves. As ectogenesis pods become standard, fewer children remain in evacuation zones. Caretakers assigned elsewhere. Today I found a forgotten teddy wandering alone, its scarf frayed, faded by time. Waiting for a child who won't return. Today my assignment ended. As I packed my belongings, I carefully tucked one small scarf into my bag. Swollen for the first time, waves rising slowly yet relentlessly swollen familiar ground, buildings half submerged, surrendered quietly to the ocean's advance, amid the waterlogged remains of our ancient civilization. Man, every single one of these journals is well written. It's the best I can say. Moses Initiative. Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution. I don't care. Methane hydrates beneath the ocean will destabilize. I've gathered all my data. Today I sent her everything. I can do no more. She understands immediately, no arguments, no denial, just a calm. She said they will call us mad now, Elias, but future generations, if we give them a future, will call us prophets. I hope she's right. Institute has quietly sidelined my research, pushed me to administrative work. My ordinance were too inconvenient. My funding drying up, my office a forgotten room at the far end of the hall. But Evelyn's letters keep coming, each more personal and determined. She writes of orbital colonies, modular habitats in space. She calls our idea Moses, an exodus, a lifeboat for humanity. Final letter from everyone arrived today, urgent and confident. Her message was brief. Elias, Moses is approved. The world doesn't yet know what we do, but we soon will. When they look back at Earth and the stars, they'll remember who saved them. We weren't supposed to be here. Scanner said dense anomaly, something beneath a kilometer of ice. Sent me because I'm the one who doesn't ask too many questions. We drilled, the ice cracked, and there it was, a shard embedded in frozen rock, pulsated faintly. I told the team not to touch it, but the orders from Moses are clear. Sample and report. The filaments, they're still flexible at sub-zero temperature. They breathe. What have we pulled from the Earth's cold heart? Sample resists dissection. This isn't inert, it feels aware. One technician swears she saw it flinch when his scalpel got too close. The crew is uneasy. Sample is exposed to a nutrient-rich solution overnight. By morning, it had grown out of containment. That's... nope. It moved, not grew. It moved. When exposed to specific frequencies of sound... Ew. Cocoon Initiative. Submerged the first prototype in a deep-sea vent system last week. Tentacles expanded rapidly, anchoring themselves into the seabed. That's not good. Moses says we've succeeded. Haha, sure. They respond to darkness, curling inward like sleeping serpents. In light, they extend, reach, pulse. The nodes are hatchet now. Small fibrous growths detaching and floating into the currents. Yeah, this is all the little wormy motherfuckers. They came from space, apparently. I managed to seal myself in the cryo chamber at the last emergency protocol. I've set it to activate in intervals just enough to keep me alive while reducing energy consumption. But even here, in the cold dark, I can feel them. If you find this log, know that we didn't build the future, we grew it. The tentacles, they weren't just tools, they were answers to questions we never should have asked. I hope whoever discovers this knows how to stop them or how to listen, because they are listening. Even now, in the dark, they are listening. There's no more light here, no more sound, only the hum of something vast. Whoever did the writing for this game is insane. Ocean Mark White. I don't care. This is about a specific hydrophobic surface shield. I think this is the internal system for Jacob stars. That like unit that was dropped and just left for about, if it's wake interval triggered 10-year mark. Maybe, possibly, I don't know. Next wake scheduled in 10 years. I don't know what that's about. Data log. Shark ID 407. Shark aware of implications yet incapable of resistant primary directives. Yeah, cool. Toward design designated killing platform coordinates. Shark movement unusually steady, calm, deliberate motion. Shark's lights generally flicker. Huh. So somebody was doing experiments on sharks. Gee, I wonder why all there's robotic sharks kind of floating around in the water currently. Protocol records. I don't care. Gas detection. Cool. Final clearance. Code breakdown. Status pending. Code breakdown. Fatima da Costa. They posted the names this morning, Group 17, launch window 6 days out. No fanfare, just a clipboard and a check mark. I've been waiting for this long enough that I thought I'd feel something bigger. I didn't, just a sort of weight walked past the perimeter today. What's left of the seawall? The wind carries salt and the sharp smell of metal. The city's almost silent now. Water creeps up through the lower blocks, slow and patient. I tried to remember the name of a cafe I used to go to near the university. Couldn't. Just remember sitting there once in the rain, watching traffic, not thinking about anything. I miss that more than anything. Medical screening took 3 hours. Blood samples, muscle mass scan, psych evaluation. Nurse didn't make eye contact. I didn't ask questions. They weighed us and tagged the luggage, like boarding a plane, but no one's pretending we're coming back. Lucas, the boy from 2 rows down, keeps asking questions. Do you think there will be trees in the colonies? Is gravity different from on the moon? I just nod or shrug. He talks enough for both of us. There's a monitor playing archive footage, birds, rivers, time lapses of growing plants. I'm not sure who it's for anymore. Mostly just sitting now. No one's told us anything new. Schedules are posted, but always marked subject to change. Some people write letters, some just sleep. I walk the hallways. Lucas drew stars on his bunk with a broken pen. There's a ritual among the older evacuees. You write a letter to the people who never made it this far. I started one, deleted it. Someone signs this log. Fine, it's not a message, just something to do. You can see the pads from the west window. Another launch today, not ours. They don't broadcast the failures, but we all know they happen. You feel it in the silence afterward. Lucas asked me what the odds were. I told him the number they gave us. 96% success. He asked what happened to the 4%. I didn't answer. People still pack carefully, fold clothes, tuck things in the corners if anything personal will matter once we're off planet. I didn't sleep. Walked until my legs ached, sat outside the departure hall. Stars were clear, no clouds. Lucas sat with me for a while. He asked if we would be able to see Earth from orbit. I said yes. The city is gone, more or less. Streetlights blink on where power still works. No one's there to use them. He said the stars looked the same as always. I told him they won't. We got our suits today, labeled, fitted, sorted by group, final weight confirmation, and one last medical scan. Everything is quiet. People talk in low voices or not at all. Lucas hasn't asked anything today that might worry me more than if he had. I watched one of the shuttles lift earlier. It looked too small to matter, but it vanished clean into the sky. No noise, no trail. That's probably how it ends. Quiet, small, gone. We leave in 2 hours. They gave us protein paste, water, an instruction sheet with 8 steps. Remain calm is step 2. Lucas is asleep next to his gear, or pretending, I'm not sure. Don't have any last words, no messages to leave behind. Everything I had to say got swallowed up years ago. This is just the last day. There's not much else to do but follow the instructions. Salvage logs. Protocol memo. Alina's promise. I haven't got all those yet, so I'm gonna skip. Final anthem. Do. Final transmission. The recording took place in a near empty La Scala. Its vast halls holding on to only echoes and ghosts of past triumphs. The man at the microphone was Maestro Vittorio Cavazza, the last surviving tenor of his generation, a voice that had once commanded the great stages on Earth. He was dying and we all knew it. Terminal lung disease, a singer's cruelest fate. This was to be his final performance. One last offer into the future. He stood beneath the great chandeliers, frail but unbowed, a relic of another time. His voice, though weakened by illness, still carried the fire of defiance. The orchestra played softly at first, a hesitant prelude, till we all knew it was coming, and then, at the climax. The notes rang through the empty hall, final declaration of human spirit, soaring beneath the walls, beyond the earth itself. His voice cracked on the last note, but it didn't matter. When the last echoes faded, he closed his eyes, nodded, and whispered, "It is done." He died 2 weeks later. Now every time a rocket lands and Moses, his voice returns. He never left. He is still winning. Oh, okay. So that's the reason that we have the like opera singer when the SpaceX catch happens every time. Cradle's End. Ladies and gentlemen, these are our last times. There will come a day when the oceans rise, swallowing our shores and washing away the footprints of humanity's passage. A day when the very ground beneath us, the soil we've known and loved, fades beneath waves that cannot be turned back. On that day, we will face the unbearable ache. I just lost my place. Of final moments. The last time we walk upon familiar earth, the last gentle whisper of wind rustling through trees, the final embrace of our children beneath an open and boundless sky. These last times will pierce our hearts, marking farewell not just to a place, but to their cradle of memories, our source of dreams, our beloved home. Yet in every profound ending, a seed of beginning awaits. For each painful goodbye holds the potential of a thrilling first step, our first brave stride in unknown worlds, our first glance upon horizons born from courage, innovation, and necessity. Just as a primitive hand once hurled an ancient bone skyward, transforming simple tools into vessels of exploration and creation, so too will we cast our hopes and ingenuity upward into the cosmos, evolving once again into pioneers of our destiny. The oceans may rise, but humanity will ascend even higher. Tonight, although we leave behind the landscapes of our past, Earth itself will forever accompany us in our memories, in the very marrow of our bones, and in the unyielding spirit that compels us to reach for the stars. This is not the story of our end, but the dawn of an extraordinary new chapter, a future built from courage, dreams, and infinite possibilities. Earth, we may not have always expressed our love as you deserved, yet it was always there, in the laughter beneath your skies, the warmth felt on sunlit shores, the quiet moments of wonder under starlit nights. Now, as we depart, we promise never to forget your lessons, your wisdom, your quiet grace. You remain forever our first home, forever our guiding star. Goodbye, dear Earth. Hi, love. I just got here and it's quiet, eerily quiet, the kind of quiet that gives you time to think. Well, that's a good, hopeful ending for so many log entries that were all about people dying off in peculiar ways or just starvation. I say that and I just realized This is the father of Alina. Before they officially headed off into the stars. God damn it, game. You're making me sad about people I've never met and don't exist. Good job, writers.